Good morning. It's May 1st, and this is your daily brief in science. Here's everything you need to know. A bold push in conservation tech aims to bring back the bluebuck, an African antelope extinct around 1800, by editing its genome into a roan antelope surrogate. Colossal Biosciences frames this as part of a broader plan to support about 29 threatened antelope species through reproductive technologies, genomic tools, and biobanking for ongoing conservation and genetic material preservation. The effort sits alongside other high-profile de-extinction projects, including a mammoth calf targeted by late 2028, the Tasmanian tiger, the dodo, and the northern white rhinoceros. Public attention and celebrity involvement surround the work, with investors and partners tied to related efforts. Officials acknowledge potential ecological benefits while noting the scientific and ethical considerations involved in restoration and reintroduction. A key scientific challenge is that the bluebuck and roan genomes differ by about 3%, with millions of variants to sort through to identify which changes drive phenotype versus metabolism or regulation. The company argues advances could benefit roughly 93 antelope species and broader ecosystems by restoring ecological balance and supporting habitat plant life. The initiative aligns with conservation efforts through collaborations to identify reintroduction sites in South Africa and to evaluate ecological benefits. Ethical debates are acknowledged as experts point to ongoing conservation challenges even as de-extinction progresses. Chief Executive Officer Ben Lamb emphasizes that restoring the bluebuck is only half the work, with safeguarding reintroduced populations through governance and global protection constituting the other half. Researchers have sequenced the roan genome using a specimen from the Swedish Museum of Natural History to achieve high-accuracy variant identification. A new Spaceflight Laboratories initiative at the University of Iowa is designed as a one-stop shop for space hardware, inviting internal projects, external academia, and industry partners to collaborate from concept through delivery. The labs function as service centers, expanding partnerships and providing hands-on student training while pursuing grant opportunities and industry collaborations to move space hardware from idea to deployment. Professor Greg Howes emphasizes a sustainable, integrated approach to designing and building space instrumentation for exploration, reinforcing the lab's long-standing emphasis on end-to-end development. A third tracer spacecraft sits in the prototyping space, not designated for launch, as UI repurposes James Van Allen's former workspace into clean rooms for humidity and temperature-controlled instrument assembly. The on-site Tracers program preserves a space-oriented area used previously by Van Allen, while keeping a live prototype on site for iterative development. UI has a deep history of space collaboration dating back to the 1950s, contributing to Explorer 1 and instruments on Cassini, Juno, and Voyager 1, and continues to lead or participate in NASA missions and multi-institution projects. The new lab aims to accelerate UI's leadership in space science by supporting the full life cycle of instrument development, from design to testing to integration. Graduate students and faculty are actively involved, with plans to produce hundreds of in-house circuit boards and students building instruments to collect data above Tracer's orbit. Renovations and equipment funding totaled $7.2 million from UI and $670,000 from the Roy J. Carver Charitable Trust, with additional NASA support, underscoring a broad funding base. The facility is intended to enable end-to-end development of space hardware, supported by UI funding, the Carver Trust, and NASA, while maintaining a focus on robotic, non-manned missions. UI research also informs manned missions by studying space weather and conditions that affect astronaut safety, aiding Artemis and related initiatives. The spaceflight labs have demonstrated rapid iteration, as new brackets were designed in weeks during Tracer's preparation, and they support quick responses to testing issues. A new chapter in targeted cancer therapy centers on TrueCap, capivasertib, used in combination with fulvestrant for certain HR-positive, HER2-negative breast cancers, and now pursued for PTEN-deficient metastatic hormone-sensitive prostate cancer. Capivasertib is a 400 mg twice-daily pan-KAT inhibitor taken on a 4 days on, 3 days off schedule, with ongoing Phase 3 trials, Capitello, 292 for breast cancer and Capitello 281 for prostate cancer. Capitello 281 targets PTEN deficient de novo metastatic hormone-sensitive prostate cancer, creating the first pivotal trial focused on this subset, while development continues alongside Capitello 292 in breast cancer. Common adverse reactions are frequent, including diarrhea around 72%, skin-related issues about 58%, and hyperglycemia near 57%, requiring monitoring and management plans. Laboratory abnormalities have led to dose modifications and some treatment discontinuations beyond the typical gastrointestinal and skin symptoms. Capitello 281 demonstrated a statistically significant 19% reduction in the risk of radiographic progression or death, with median rPFS of 33.2 months versus 25.7 months, HR 0.81, p equals 0.034. The primary endpoint reflects about a 7.5-month rPFS benefit for TrueCap plus abiraterone and androgen deprivation therapy compared with control. Secondary analyses favored the TrueCap combination, showing improved rPFS and other measures in first-line therapy for PTEN-deficient MHSPC. Overall survival data were immature at the primary analysis, but interim results favored TrueCap, and OS remains a key secondary endpoint as the trial continues. FDA accepted the supplemental NDA for TrueCap in this combination in August 2025, based on Capitello 281 results presented at ESMO and published in a major oncology journal, with ODAC feedback expected to inform FDA review and an EU submission also under review. Safety notes indicate TrueCap is approved with fulvestrant in breast cancer and carries precautions for hyperglycemia, skin reactions, embryo-fetal toxicity, and interactions with CYP3A modulators or inducers. A spent SpaceX Falcon 9 upper stage from the Firefly Blue Ghost Mission 1 and iSpace Hakuto R Resilience lunar landers is projected to impact the Moon on August 5, 2026, near Einstein Crater on the western limb, at roughly 2:44 a.m. Eastern Time, traveling about 5,400 miles per hour. The debris, tied to the Falcon 9 second stage from the Blue Ghost mission, is on a collision course with the Moon after the mission marked a milestone with a March 2025 lunar landing. The predicted impact offers limited scientific value beyond potential regolith analysis and informs future lunar mission planning and debris mitigation discussions. Observers may gain minor scientific insights from ejecta, and future missions might adjust trajectory planning to avoid or minimize debris risks. Bill Gray of Project Pluto predicted the impact path and timing using his software, noting no danger to Earth but highlighting concerns about space debris disposal. Gray tracks the debris with high confidence, though the exact impact spot could shift slightly due to gravitational influences. The event underscores the broader issue of growing space debris and its implications for astronomy and safety, with the Moon serving as a relatively safer sink than Earth. Tracking the object's trajectory will continue in coming months. The crash is notable but not expected to significantly alter the lunar surface. Even if the impact is on the Moon's near side, Earth-based telescopes are unlikely to observe it. Similar past events faced visibility challenges. Space Force tracks such objects with radar while telescopes assist distant object tracking. Animations show the moving debris. Exact impact site remains subject to change as solar radiation pressure subtly alters the debris trajectory toward the Moon. SpaceX has not commented on this debris. Broader discourse calls for improved orbital disposal guidelines to reduce future space junk. A new study uses electron psychography to map three-dimensional polar structures inside PMNPT, linking direct atomic observations with dynamic simulations. The work maps how disordered materials arrange polarization in 3 dimensions and connects those structures to molecular dynamics calculations. Researchers see this approach as a path to engineer advanced materials for memory storage, sensing, and energy technologies. By tying experimental 3-dimensional polar structures to simulations, the study improves predictive modeling of material behavior at the atomic level. The researchers emphasize that empirical validation is crucial for reliable computational predictions, framing MEP as a feedback loop between theory and experiment. Lead author notes that observing atoms directly enables validation and refinement of computational models with higher fidelity. Support came from multiple U.S. agencies and MIT Nano facilities, underscoring strong institutional backing for this imaging capability. The project is a collaborative effort involving MIT, several universities worldwide, and funding from the Army Research Laboratory, the Office of Naval Research, the Department of War, and a National Science Graduate Fellowship. Findings reveal a hierarchical arrangement of chemical and polar structures from atomic to mesoscopic scales, with many polarized regions smaller than prior simulations predicted. The study shows polarization is modulated by individual chemical species based on atomic charge states, with regions smaller and more correlated than expected. Overall, polarization structures are hierarchical and more tightly correlated than simulations had anticipated. The material studied, PMN-PT, exhibits nanoregions and polarization configurations that form a hierarchical mosaic observable with MEP across scales. This has been your daily brief in science. To read more about these stories, follow the links in the episode bio. You can also subscribe to these updates via email at www.brief.news. For more daily podcasts about the topics you love, visit brief.news/podcasts. We'll be back Monday with everything you need to know.